Well, thanks for dropping by. Today we're talking about the future of customer engagement for product market fit. Our facilitator is Daryl Glover. He's a pharmacist consultant at KPMG, and he's helped many businesses, and he can help you too. And today he's going to help us get through this deck. Welcome, Daryl.
Thanks, Gene. Great speaking with you again today.
A lot to live up to there, that big setup. Are you up to it?
I'm ready to go. I think our listeners are really going to be excited today about what we're going to talk about.
Well, I actually am excited for your theme, number 4. Describe the value of having an ongoing customer advisory board because, for a lot of people, they haven't worked with one before. They don't know what it is. They're not sure what the value is. So is this theme set up to sort of set the tone for what is a great customer advisory board and what are the benefits and risks?
Yeah, definitely. And, because our panel is so experienced with the broad range of backgrounds in different areas, industries, with marketing, product development backgrounds, you're really getting kind of this diverse look at the value of customer advisory boards from a 360-degree point of view. So I think everybody's really been contributing, they've been interacting well, really showing the value of how a virtual forum like Currnt can really help bring out the human interaction between us, even though people are physically isolated from each other.
And in your executive summary, it looks like you kind of go over this overall benefits of a customer advisory board.
Yeah, so what's kind of interesting, as Alexander had pointed out, that it's important to engage with your customers because then they can voice their opinions, they can communicate in an honest way the feedback that they have about products and services that an organization might have. Now, the challenge is you really want it to be diversified. You want it to represent different customer types, different industry segments, but it has to be small enough so that you can actually have that interaction. And one of the key things that point out was a lot about format topic fit. So perhaps in some areas a virtual CAB is perfect together, and in other cases you need to have kind of a hybrid approach where you're doing both virtual and in person. But the key is really stimulating that human interaction. It's also key that we remember that people like to be recognized for their expertise and for their contributions to your company. But what's really interesting that one of the panelists pointed out is that you can use this kind of customer focus to not only align, let's say, the product division together, but you can have a single focus and move everybody across multiple divisions from finance to marketing, sales, all together to align them towards a common goal by using the customer as kind of a central focus point. Of course, in order to do that, you want to make sure you have knowledgeable users and influencers. And what was really fascinating for me is that someone pointed out that when you have the greatest risk and the greatest uncertainty, that's where the value of customer advisory boards really come in because it can really help guide you in a direction that will make sure that you are successful. And the other benefit of that is that people within the organization, because they have these one-to-one interactions at different levels, develop some empathy for the customers.
Okay, great. Well, let's get into key point number 1. This is the value of the customer advisory board as it relates to product development.
Yeah, that's correct. So as Kim pointed out, it's really important to get this feedback not just one time, one off, but throughout the stages of development. So you're always kind of getting feedback at different points to make sure you're moving in the right direction. And Steve made a great point about it helps you ensure success by getting this kind of feedback. And, when we look at kind of these product-led organizations, product is really driving everything. And getting that feedback really can help the product move forward, as Michael mentioned.
So obviously, customer advisory boards, when it deals with products, a brilliant idea. But what other applications are there for CABs?
Yeah, so it really kind of goes across the entire area. So Michael, he was really showing that in the customer-led organizations, it's kind of marketing and sales that take the lead versus product development team. And it's really about focusing on that customer experience. But what he's saying really applies to the product side as well. when you focus on the customer, you can help drive value and help drive revenue. Now, Bill also mentioned from his experience, what was really interesting is not just having CABs focus on one area, but on multiple areas. So it's very multi-purpose. So looking at things like best practices, product direction, integrating customer feedback, and creating, more importantly, a network. And Alexander had a very interesting point of view. This is kind of more on the B2C side because they were focused on medical devices. He was talking about looking at it from the patient perspective. And by getting that feedback, they can find out if the device is really helping the patient in the way that was intended.
So, Daryl, let's say that people want to get a customer advisory board up and going. What are some best practices that you can recommend?
First, it's kind of getting together the right group. I mean, that was kind of the core that everybody thought out. And also then integrating the key decision makers within the organization to interact with that group and to really then focus on listening and hearing what people are saying. The other thing that's really important, as Corolla pointed out, is that you need to have a platform that everybody can access, especially when you're looking at a virtual CAB environment.
And let's get into key point number 4, which are the gains for the company as a result of using CABs or virtual CABs.
Yeah, so there's a wide range of gains for different organizations. I mean, as Michael pointed out, you can't really have great marketing unless you're getting continuous customer feedback. And having that feedback loop on new marketing materials you're looking at and new targets can really help you drive and reach consumers in an effective way. Corolla backed that up by saying effective marketing is really about increasing focus on the customer. And as Steve pointed out, in some formats, it's best to have kind of that hybrid model, depending on what they're focusing on, where they're doing a combination of in-person and then following up with a virtual environment, as opposed to having just a pure virtual or pure in-person. Sometimes a combination really balances things out for the organization.
Okay, let's take a moment here and really explain what a virtual customer advisory board is and what are the strengths versus an old school customer advisory board.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of strengths that come from the virtual environment. The first is being, especially as we're looking in the context of the Currnt platform, is that people can participate when it's convenient for them. So while it's true if you have kind of this in-person meeting, it is convenient because they're there, they're in a locked room, you can get a different level of interaction. If you want to do this more on a continuous basis and get that feedback, you want to have the environment set up so that, one, they can have a human interaction with each other, as well as being able to participate when they can participate. And that's really important, that it's not a drag on their time, but something they want to do in their spare time.
So I was really interested in your survey here.
Yeah, so we wanted to look at how the panel really felt the value of the continuous customer advisory board was. So really kind of more focused on what a virtual CAB environment would be like. And everybody feels like it's either very valuable or valuable to have this continuous feedback.
Well, gosh, I just think there's so much great information in here, Daryl. Really great job facilitating this panel. Tell us about these 3 panelists that really stood out.
So Corolla, again, has made a lot of really good contributions as she did in the last one. This is her second week at number 1. But Brian and Mark, completely new to being in the top 3. The panel is recognizing the diversity of opinion from different experiences that people have. And I think that's really the value of this particular board.
So where are we going next, Daryl?
We kind of now have established that there's clearly a value to customer advisory boards. Now we're going to kind of get down to, well, how do we value how much revenue we get from these customer advisory boards, and how do we actually track that?
That sounds fantastic. Great job, Daryl. Really appreciated taking us through this. I really found it fascinating, and I can't wait to find out the results of your next theme, and I look forward to that conversation.
Looking forward to it as well.
All right. Again, that's Daryl Glover. He's a pharmacist consultant at KPMG, and he's worked in a variety of businesses, and he's available to work with you too. And Daryl, we will talk again.
All right. Thanks a lot, Gene.